lemon bar making time. My purse just fell over. And if that's the way this video is gonna go, great. Okay, so I have gotten all of my ingredients prepared. So except for the lemons, I have not juiced the lemons, but I'm gonna do that while the crust for the lemon bars is cooking in the oven, just to give me something to do to pass the time. So I am gonna be making these lemon bars with sucralose sweetener. These are for Steve. I'm making him his first batch because he's been working overtime at the fire station, trying to make sure that, you know, he's working hard and taking care of everybody out there. So we're gonna make these for him. But this is an easy one because sucralose substitutes the same as sugar. So this is a low carb option to lemon bars. If you don't want to follow the low carb option, that is totally fine. You just replace your sweetener with actual sugar that measures exactly the same. The other change I'm going to be making is I'm going to be using almond flour. Again, just to make this more of a low carb option for Steve. But again, it's measuring exactly the same as your regular flour or even your gluten-free flour blend, okay? So all of the flours are interchangeable with each other. If you're gonna use sucralose and sugar are interchangeable. If you're gonna use any other kind of sweetener, I have some allulose here. This has a different conversion. So this one says 1 1/3 cups of allulose measures the same as 1 cup of refined sugar. So in this case, you would need a little bit more. I am gonna try this one with my third batch. I'll have to let you guys know how it tastes. I've never tried this allulose, but it's a sugar that's made with from raisins, kiwis, and figs. So we're gonna give that a taste test next, but I will post how I feel about that after I make these. Okay, so let's get started. So we have all of our ingredients, and if you don't have all of your ingredients, get everything out, pre-measure everything that's gonna make this go a little bit faster. I've got my butter melted already. I've got my flour out, I've got everything out and everything ready so that we can just do this seamlessly. I've made this recipe many, many times. It's one of my go-to things that I bring to people's parties, and everybody seems to like them. So I'm gonna be using a disposable tins to take these up to Steve at the fire station so he doesn't have to worry about doing any dishes, but I also have my Pyrex glass baking dish that I will use for hours. So either way you want to go, whatever works. Okay, so here we go. Now, making the crust. Now this is really dirty. Had it for a very long time, but everybody loves these. So you can tell I've baked with it and it's well loved. So 1 2/3 cup of flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure that. I have not pre-measured the flour yet because I just haven't. So I'm gonna move this down so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. Hopefully my phone doesn't fall off. Hey, and you can even see me. That's awesome. Move that.
Yay!
I think, yeah. Mom's sitting here in the background reading, finishing her book, the Shelter in Place book that I showed you guys the other day. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way. We don't need that just yet. So I'm gonna use this little bowl right here. And the crust calls for a cup of flour. So the flour is divided in your recipe. So you're gonna do 1 cup of flour for your crust and then another cup of flour for your actual lemon bars. And that just got me thinking about something. For the actual custard portion of the lemon bars, I do use regular flour. So I haven't tried the almond flour with that just yet. So I will be using regular flour for the custard part of the lemon bars. So anyway, a cup of almond flour. So I'm just gonna measure that out. Almonds are very, very anti-inflammatory. They're really good for you. It is higher in calories, but it's low carb, low on the glycemic index, and almonds are very, very anti-inflammatory. I'm just gonna put that in there. we're gonna do the confectioner's sugar. Now, I'm not gonna use confectioner's sugar in the crust because it's low carb, so I'm just gonna use a little, I'm gonna use half the amount of sucralose. So this calls for a half of, let me make sure on that. Yeah, it calls for a half a cup of confectioner's sugar, but I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup of sucralose because to me, it's really sweet. So I try and cut the sweetness back a little bit by adding half of the recommended sucralose. But if you're using confectioner's sugar, I would recommend using the entire half of a cup. Okay, so I'm gonna dump that in there. We're going to add, okay, so I'm using salted butter. So if you're using unsalted butter, you should add salt, but if you're using salted butter, you do not have to add extra salt. And I just prefer it, it makes it easy. You don't have to add any added salt. So we're gonna flour, confectioner's sugar, salt, and lemon zest. Okay, so I'm not using lemon zest. I'm using my lemon essential oils. And I usually do 4 or 5 drops of this in there, which mimics the flavor of the lemon zest. You can choose to leave the lemon zest out if you don't want to take the time to zest an entire lemon, which can be very time consuming. You don't have to put it in there, or you can add a little bit of lemon extract if you just want to make it a little easier on yourself, because I don't know about you, but zesting a lemon is kind of a pain in the butt, all right? So I use my lemon essential oils, and essential oils are great because you can eat them and use them and diffuse them, and they keep you healthy, so that's awesome. All right, and then we have our butter. Okay, so then we're gonna add our butter. And we're gonna use a fork to kind of mix this up. So I have melted this butter and it's cool now. It's not hot anymore. So I'm just gonna pour that in there. And we're gonna mix that up. And this is our crust. Easy peasy. Okay, so it's nice and beautiful and buttery. And then we're gonna take our little baking pan here and I'm just gonna spray it. I love this Bake Easy by Wilton's. Not so great if you're a gluten-free household, because I think this does have a little bit of gluten in it for some reason, but I love it. Everything just unsticks beautifully with this. I'm gonna spray that. Get a nice little coating. And then we're going to put our crust in there. And then we are going to press it in on all sides and make it nice and even in there. Just got my 10,000 steps. I wasn't even stepping. It's happened to me twice now. Okay, so we're just gonna spread that around nice and evenly, get it in all the nooks and crannies. You want a nice even layer. On the bottom of this pan. Is that recording?
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it.
Oh, that's okay. I figured we can listen to it later. I'm just getting some COVID updates.
No Tylenol,
No Advil.
No Advil, no ibuprofen.
Okay.
It seems to
Make it worse.
risk.
Okay, well, so we shouldn't even be taking it if we have a headache?
No Tylenol, we take the other things.
Okay. All right. Now, this may be a total experiment because, as I recall, this wasn't like this last time, but I'm sure it'll cook up fine. Okay, this goes in the oven now for 15 minutes until firm. So now, while this is baking, we are going to start squeezing our lemons. I love lemons. I'm such a lemon head. Okay, putting this in there. Okay, so now we're gonna get another little bowl, and we're going to start prepping our lemons. So it calls for 2/3 of a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Okay, we got that. And this does not have a 2/3 cup measure on here, so I am going to have to use something else. So I have this really, really awesome citrus press by Pampered Chef, and these things are awesome. It's heavy duty metal, and it's wonderful for squeezing small citrus like lemon, limes, oranges, tangerines, you know, smaller citrus. So it calls for 4 lemons. I have found sometimes I need 5 or 6. So I'm just gonna start squeezing lemons until I get the amount that it calls for, 2/3 of a cup. I'm gonna start with the 4. And hey, if you squeeze more than 2/3 of a cup, you can always save it and add it to that hot lemon water we're supposed to be drinking. Speaking of which, where is that hot lemon water that I had? I don't know.
I'll go look.
I don't know that I took it out of here.
No.
I might have, who knows with me, you never know. Okay, so this is great. So you just put the lemon in there, cut side down, and then you just press, and it squeezes. It just comes right out, and it comes out so easily. I love it. Then you got this. Yeah. So I did get this from the Pampered Chef, but I have seen them at Walmart. I've seen them in any bath or kitchen store, anything like that. It doesn't have to be Pampered Chef. I just happened to get it from Pampered Chef because they had a Pampered Chef party, and I got all this free stuff. And there's my lemon water hiding in plain sight. Like my mother would always tell me as a little kid, Erica, if it was a snake, it would have bit you. And you know what was so funny? You know how moms can always find the things that their kids are looking for? I mean, like the extra shoe or the sock or whatever it is that we've forgotten, lost, whatever. Garen used to get mad at me all the time because he'd look for hours trying to find something, and I would walk into his room, or I'd walk into the room and I'd find it without having to even really look. He used to get pissed at me. It used to be a joke between us. So the other day, I was running all around the house like a crazy person looking for something, and I couldn't find it. It was my Fitbit. That's right, I was looking for my Fitbit. And I go to my mom's room, and I said, "Hey, Mom." She goes, "What?" I said, "Have you seen my Fitbit? I can't find it anywhere." She goes, "Yes, I have. Let me think a minute." And sure enough, 3 seconds later, she found it in the laundry room where I left it on top of a pile of clothes. So there you go. But I think the whole thing is, can't be just anybody's mom that can help you find these things. Okay, it has to be your mom. Otherwise, the radar connection is broken. I mean, it just doesn't work with, you know, a surrogate mom. All right, look at that. We're almost at 2/3 a cup. So I did 4 lemons, and 4 lemons exactly equaled 2/3 of a cup. So that is fabulous. There is our lemon juice. Okay, so we're gonna pour that in the bowl. So then we need 4 eggs. So in a medium-sized bowl, place the eggs, granulated sugar, baking powder, lemon juice, and remaining 2/3 cup of flour, whisking vigorously to combine after each addition. Okay, so we got 4 eggs. We're gonna put those eggs in there. 1, 2, oops. So lemons are really, really high in vitamin C. They're very anti-inflammatory. I am going to be talking more about inflammation and what kind of foods that we should be eating in order to reduce inflammation, because reducing inflammation in our body helps boost your immune system. So then there's our sugar, or our sucralose. And this stuff, whew, is strong. Baking powder. Baking powder. And a 2/3 cup of flour, which, like I said before, I'm just going to be using regular plain old flour because I've never tried using the almond flour to make the custards, and custards can be a little bit tricky. So we're just gonna get 2/3. Okay. Now we're gonna whisk that all up and we're gonna set it aside. And I think what I will do in the meantime while I'm waiting is I will go ahead and make the other batch with the sugar, with plain old sugar. Just break up all the clumps in there. Oops. You want a nice little frothy mix. Smells good. Smells really good. One thing I hate about lemon bars that I like about cakes and stuff is that there's so many eggs in here that I get a little nervous about potentially having a little taste. So I don't have a taste. But if you're gonna smell, it smells great. Okay, so that's nice and whisked up. So in the meantime, while my other one is baking, I'm gonna go ahead and make the crust for the regular lemon bars, which is what Cameron is going to eat. So do 1 stick of butter. Okay, so this is the version where I'm using regular flour and not almond flour. So you could do the low carb version or the regular version. So I have a cup of flour in my bowl, and I just use the same bowl as I did with the almond flour, just because in this household we don't have any nut allergies, so I don't have to worry about cross-contaminating. So we have our 1 cup of flour. We're gonna take a 1/2 cup of confectioner's sugar. I'm gonna put that in here. That's my mom's phone. 1/2 cup of confectioner's sugar. Now this is where this stuff gets real, man, I'm telling you. Like, lemon bars are my favorite. I just love that sweet and tart. They're Darren's favorite. Okay, we're gonna dump that in there.
Mine too.
My mom's favorite. We're gonna do our 5 drops of lemon essential oils. It just gives that crust a little bit more of a lemony flavor. It's really great, actually. The lemon zest does the same thing, and again, you can use the lemon extract as well. And we are going to, oh crap. I need another whisk. I need to get like 2 whisks. I only have the 1. So we're gonna mix all that up. And then we're gonna add our butter. Oops. We're gonna mix that all up. Okay, so that's good. So then we're gonna take our other Pyrex here and we're gonna spray it with our Baker's Bake Easy. You know, you could use parchment paper too if you don't want to use baking spray for whatever reason. You can totally use parchment paper. In fact, that makes it really easy for it to come out. So if you're at a party and you don't want to do the whole, oh, didn't quite mix that one up. You don't want to do the whole disposable pan. You can just line your existing pan with parchment paper and then just take the whole thing out with the parchment paper and cut it up on that and serve it that way. I'm gonna check the oven, the other one. It looks and smells so good, just saying. But what doesn't smell great with butter and sugar in it? Oh, God, butter's the best thing in the whole world, in my opinion. Okay, so we're gonna put that in there. And then we're just gonna press it down. You can use a fork, you can use your fingers, you can use whatever you want. I'm using a fork. And then I'm gonna use my fingers. I think. Just press that down. So paranoid about this damn coronavirus that I don't want to use my fingers to do anything anymore. I don't want to touch anything. I want to walk around in a bubble suit and except I miss my friends and I miss talking to people and I miss hugging people and I miss having game night and I miss all that stuff. And I pulled one of my little angel cards this morning and it said, you need to be grateful for what you have. And I'm gonna tell you what, I've had a really hard time the last couple of days, and they're absolutely right. I have not been the most grateful individual in the world, which is weird to me. I've been sulky and kind of mean and not very nice. So that's how it should look. Now, you would have your fingerprint marks in there if you're gonna use your hand. Pull this one out, let it cool for a couple minutes, put this one in, and then I'm gonna add the custard filling to that one, and then we're gonna bake it. And that's it, that's all there is. Super easy. Are you drinking wine already?
Yeah.
Oh, I told her we weren't gonna have wine until after we were done with lemon bars.
You said after baking. We got one baked.
Well,
But I'm just sitting and look at that though.
Doesn't that
It's
look good?
beautiful, yes.
okay, so we're gonna put
I would eat just
yeah, now
that
she's
as a cookie.
buttering me up because she knows I said about the wine. Oh, you're a
Yeah.
bad example, Vicki Lynn.
It is 5:12,
Yes.
so I'm not horrible. I'm just bad. I should have waited. Bon appetit.
You cook each of these crusts for 15 minutes, just so you know. I'm being remiss in my duty, so hopefully I haven't confused you all. I'm gonna go ahead and just post the actual recipe in the pictures at the end so that you guys can see it, or I'll type it out for you, just so you know. Okay, so this just has to cool for a couple of minutes. Well, if she's having wine, I'm gonna have wine too. I'm gonna get a glass of wine while you guys watch this cool for a minute. Judy wants to know what I'm drinking. This is my new favorite wine, Menage a Trois Midnight. It's really good. My mom doesn't like it, but I do. So if you want to try something different and new, it's a blend. It's a dark red blend.
A lot of people really like it. It's just that I'm not much of a Syrah drinker.
Right.
And it's got Syrah.
Does
in
it? Okay, I can't taste it. It tastes really good. Anyway, voluptuous black cherry and berry flavors with hints of mocha and exotic spice play across your lips, urging you to turn out the lights and savor the pleasure of the dark. Ooh, that is a sexy wine, okay? Husbands, maybe buy your wives this wine next time you want to get a little frisky. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that was too much. I don't know. I'm a goofball. Okay, I'm gonna put that back. And the funny part is, I'm this much of a goofball when I'm sober. I'm a lot less fun when I'm drunk. Well, not that I'm gonna get drunk, but when I'm drinking wine. All right, moving on. Now that this has cooled a little bit, now this crust is gonna be flakier than the actual flour crust, meaning it's gonna be a little bit crumblier, but that's just because of its almond flour. So we're gonna pour that right on top. Is that top oven all prepped and ready to go, Mom?
Everything, both ovens are ready.
Fabulous. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside, and we just have this beautiful layer right on top.
I did do a few things.
Yes, you did. Okay, so now this goes in the oven for 25 minutes. And I am very, very fortunate to have a double oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in here. It's cooking. Our other crust is in the oven. We've got 13 minutes on that timer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remake this custard for the regular flour lemon bars, the second set of lemon bars. Okay. So we have our melted butter. Oh no, we already did that. Okay, so we're gonna squeeze our lemon. So I'm gonna do 4 lemons again. And we have a lot of lemons, which is why I wanted to make lemon bars, because they're starting to go a little soft. So I wanna use them up. And that's the best time to do any kind of baking like this, is when you've got extras of things and you're sitting around. Now I have a really stocked baking cabinet. So at this very moment, I could whip up homemade buttermilk pancakes. I could whip up homemade cornbread muffins. I could whip up a chocolate cake. I could probably do a frosting, a confection or sugar frosting. I could pretty much whip anything up. That was Cameron. He's going to Jimmy John's to pick up his check. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze this directly into this thing, since I know that 4 of these lemons makes about 2/3 of a cup. So, except I think I'm gonna have a problem with seeds here again. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the strainer. Oops, do this over the strainer. Okay. I kind of feel bad for Cam. I think he thinks I'm crazy, and I probably am a little bit. I film everything in my life now because I'm bored.
Oh no,
He doesn't think. Well, I hope not.
You know, we're all doing things that we differently, and we have to make it fun.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's called adapting. And
Yes.
coping.
Which we're all trying to do.
And none of this is easy because it's not stable.
No.
We're still not, you know, in a stable situation where we know exactly what's going on.
This is true. Okay, so now we have our 4 lemons squeezed and strained. And we're gonna do our 4 eggs.
The reason for not tasting anything with eggs raw is a lot of people like me are allergic to raw eggs.
Oh,
Do you remember Orange Julius?
I do.
Well, when they first came out, they used to use raw eggs.
Oh, to get that frothy?
To
Blech.
get that frothy stuff.
Gross.
And your mother had one, and then I broke out in terrible rashes and
Oh.
stuff like that.
That
And the only
sounds-
thing I had different was that. And then we found out that they used real eggs, but they had a lot of problems.
That was the baking powder. Well, they shouldn't be using raw eggs anyway because of salmonella.
Yeah, well, they stopped
So-
all that, but you know, now it's powdered. But that was how we found out.
Wow. Okay, so then 1 cup of sugar we're gonna put in here. Yeah, raw egg. We're just having that conversation. I was having that conversation with my Sullivan family about eggs, because I got some fresh eggs, and she was saying don't eat them raw, and I said I don't know how people ever eat them raw because I think it's gross. I've never liked runny eggs ever. Like my sister, my mom, my husband, everybody loves runny eggs but me.
Oh, I like not over medium, not easy.
Right.
But no, yeah, you gotta be real careful with eggs. There are those people though that they think it cures hangovers.
Right. Well, and it might, but okay, so another 2/3 cup of flour for this version. 1.
I'm
Two.
glad you came out with us.
She's talking to Murphy. Murphy's sitting on the couch looking very despondent right now in his,
Well.
with his little face.
At least he's out here, not in his room sulking.
Right. Well, Murphy did not get a WALK today because he's gotten a walk. Oops, I said the word. He's gotten a WALK every day for a very long time. So we decided to stay in because every time I walk outside, my nose runs and I have horrible seasonal allergies, and then I have to, you know, sneeze and cough and everybody's looking at me like I've got the plague.
Or the Corvette virus.
Same thing. Okay, so that's all whipped up. So this is gonna wait now for our second batch. And seriously, we're gonna dump this on top of the crust that's baking right now in the oven. It's gonna bake for 25 minutes. At the end of it, you're just gonna dust it with some confectioner sugar. And actually, you don't even have to do that. You're going to refrigerate, you're gonna let it cool, and then you're gonna refrigerate it, and then dust it with confectioner sugar in a couple hours from now when you're ready to eat it. So this is so easy. And your kids, everybody can help you. Everybody can enjoy it. Everybody can get a little extra vitamin C in the form of a treat, which we all know right now we can really use to help keep our immune systems healthy. And yeah, so.
And you get a sweet treat.
And you get a sweet treat. I'm gonna have another sip of wine here. Good stuff. Clean up my mess a little bit. We've got 5 more minutes on that crust in there. I'm gonna check it in just a second and see what that looks like. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Ooh, that looks good. Looks good. Oh yeah, okay. Things are looking great. We got 16 minutes on the lemon bars that are in the oven, and we've got 4 minutes left on the crust. So I'm gonna sign off here for a minute and then I'll restart the video. Okay, so now we have the regular flour crust out from the oven, and I don't know if you guys can see this.
Looks great.
It does, doesn't it? It's got a little bit of brown right around the edges. I mean, just a tiny bit of tan, okay? That's all.
You can show it from the side. You can see it real well.
There you go. Okay, so you just want it a little bit brown around the edges. And then the middle should be firm to the touch and feel like it's cooked. And this is beautiful. This is perfect. So then we just take our custard mixture and we just pour it right on top, just like the other one. Super easy. Right on top. And then we pop that in the oven for 25 minutes. All right, and that's all, folks. Pop it in the oven, take it out when it's done, let it cool. It's already starting to cook around the edges a little bit. Let it cool in the refrigerator and then sprinkle some powdered sugar on it, and then you have a delightful snack. So I'm gonna pop this back in the oven and I'm gonna let her cook for a little while. Yummy for my tummy. All right, so let's talk a little bit about lymphedema. And I'm gonna incorporate this into my little cooking shows because lymphedema is something that absolutely rules my life. And I say that because there isn't a decision that I make that doesn't involve thinking about how it's going to affect my lymphedema. Okay, so I'm standing here in front of you right now in my stretchy pants, and you can see this little ridge right here. And that's from where my compression stocking lives, okay? So it comes right up under here and comes around in the front. All right, I have to wear this compression stocking every day. And I actually did a little video last night on my wrapping, which as soon as I get up the courage to post it, I will. But everything that I think about and do affects my lymphedema. So over the years of having had lymphedema, I've recognized some triggers. And funnily enough for me, alcohol does not seem to trigger it in any way, shape, or form. So I can have wine or a cocktail or whatever, but sugar does, like processed sugar specifically. So granola bars that have extra sugar in it. My mom bought me this amazing zucchini bread that I just had to have some the other day because it just looks so good. My legs swelled because I had that. I had a granola bar just to make it easy for breakfast one morning, and my legs swelled because of that. And when that happens, it usually takes a day or two for it to, the swelling to stop. But I find that for me, and this is not for everybody, but for me, natural sources of sugar such as honey, agave, the sugar that's found in a glass of wine, naturally occurring sugars that's in fruit and apples and those kinds of things don't seem to have any effect on my lymphedema at all. So I will not be eating this second batch of lemon bars because it does have sugar, and I don't want to ruin all of the good work. My leg's looking pretty darn good today. I don't know if you can tell, but today's been a good day. Yesterday, the day before, was not. So when I do drink wine, I do extra hydrating, and I drink, right now with this COVID virus, I drink hot lemon water pretty much all day long. I have a cup of coffee in the morning, and then I just stick to water the rest of the day. And then as I'm drinking wine, I will have a glass of water and with my wine or more. Sometimes I'll have a 16-ounce glass of water, and that's just gonna make sure all my lymphatic fluid is flowing well. A lot of people can't drink alcohol. A lot of people say that the alcohol really negatively affects their lymphedema, and for those people I would say absolutely don't drink it because it's not worth it, you know. But for me, on occasion, to have a glass of wine or 2 or 3 or whatever, it doesn't seem to affect me as much as it does other people. But sugar does. Sugar, stress. I'm trying to think of anything else. Sugar and stress are my 2 major triggers, which is interesting because I didn't think stress would trigger it as much, but there was a situation we had a few months ago, and I literally watched my legs swell as I stressed out more and more about the particular situation. And then that prompted me to do a search. And yes, stress is inflammatory, creates inflammation in your body. So does sugar, so does excess alcohol. But for me, as my mom is opening another bottle of wine for herself, she's only had 1 glass. This was from a couple nights ago, but I just thought that was funny. Anyway, stress is very inflammatory. So anyway, just something to think about, something I talk about, want people to be aware of is lymphedema and how it affects our bodies and how everything that I do affects it. And so the sucralose version of the lemon bars that I made they don't affect me, so I can actually have a little bit of that, and my leg will not swell because it's not actual sugar. So go figure. Our bodies are very strange. Everybody's different. Every body is different. Every body responds differently to things. So understand what your triggers are, both in if you have lymphedema, and you don't, because you know that some foods make you feel terrible after you eat them. So just listen to your body, and it's there to tell you what's going on. Okay, thank you. Okay, and we're back. And the first batch of lemon bars should be done. I'm just gonna bring them out so we can look at them real quick.
Oh, those look like good gloves.
These are great, because you know what a klutz I am. Oh yeah. That is perfect. Okay, you don't want it to jiggle. When you're using regular sugar, it might be a little bit less firm than the one with the Splenda but these are nice and firm. So we're just gonna let these cool and put them in the fridge. After they've cooled off, we're gonna stick them in the fridge for a little while, a couple hours. And then if you want to, you can dust them with powdered sugar over the top of it, which I'm not gonna do because Steve does not like sugar. So in the morning, I will take these up to the firehouse and deliver them to my husband, along with a couple of the other sugary ones for any of his coworkers, because they're working hard. They're really working hard right now. So nurses, doctors, everybody are working very hard. Sydney and I are gonna be sewing masks for the hospital for Renown. Renown has kits that they're giving away. So if you're a seamstress and you wanna help your community and you're not working right now, you should go down there to the Renown, to the main hospital on Mill Street, to the valet, and that's where they're handing out these kits, and they're really nice kits. They've got the material, the filter, everything. It comes like this. It's totally free for you. So you have the filter, you've got the elastic, and you've got the material, and you have a pattern that shows you exactly how to make them. So this is gonna be my project for this weekend and next week. I'm gonna help our community, help our doctors, help our medical staff fight the COVID virus, and we all need to be doing our part during this time. So if you get a chance, or if you want the pattern, I'll be more than happy to shoot you a copy of it or tell you where to get them. Okay, all right, I'm gonna sign off for now. We're just gonna wait for the other one to finish. Okay, and to finish your lemon bars, we're just gonna use a little bit of confectioner's sugar, and we're just gonna tap that on the top. Or you can do it however you want. I'm not gonna put a whole lot on here. There, you can kind of spread that around a little bit if you want to. And then we're gonna put our lid on. And then when you're ready to enjoy, you just cut these up into little squares and enjoy. And I might film us tasting the allulose ones, since I'm not eating the ones with sugar. But I might film my mom and Cameron tasting the other ones. I'm sure they're gonna be delicious. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And be good to each other. Be nice to each other. Do your part in this community.
And stay healthy.
Stay healthy. I'm going to be working on doing some information for people who want to help keep their immune systems healthy during this time. If you're interested, message me. I can get you the information. There will be a small fee for the information just because it's taken me so much time to put it all together. But I'm not working right now, and I have no way to make any money. Steve is working overtime, but we all know how much I hate relying on anybody else's income to support me, and I'm a worker bee. So if you guys can, or if you're interested, message me, and we can discuss prices and everything else. It will be very, very reasonable, and it will help you stay healthy during this time. And this is how my mom and I have stayed very healthy during this time. This is what we eat, our diet, and the information that I have that's kept me healthy and cancer-free. So if I can keep myself cancer-free, I can keep myself COVID-free. All right? Thank you. Have
Stay
a
healthy,
wonderful
everyone.
day. Stay healthy, and we will see you soon. Mwah.